So we are here today to plan for the year ahead of us. And we are in a province that occupies a very special place in the heart of the EFF. Because as we turn 10 years, one of the biggest meetings which took place, which preceded the formation of the EFF in the form of consultation with our people who needed to provide an answer to the question, what is to be done? One of the meetings we held was in Zamdela Township, where the people of Zamdela said they've not experienced the so-called democracy, and that 1994 has not had any impact on them, that actually 1994 has been a pain in their lives, and that a political party must be formed. And in response to that call of the people of Zamdela, the EFF was formed, together with the people of the coal mining community of Sasolburg, who said, we do not understand why, even when the dreams of 1994 were betrayed, and the dreams of the attainment of the land and the wealth of our country were betrayed, still we do not see anything emerging in the alternative to continue with the strategic objective of the founding fathers of the national struggle. Because at the core of the national struggle and what led to the formation of the struggle against colonialism and imperialism was the land and the wealth of our people which was betrayed, which was taken from them. And 1994 would have ordinarily meant that the people are going to get in return that which was stolen from them. That the land is going to come, that the wealth is going to come. And what constituted the wealth at that time was cattle, which was taken forcefully during the wars of dispossession. So when the people say we need the wealth of our country to be returned, at that time the wealth was cattle, but we do not mean the return of the cattle. It will come obvious with the land, but we mean that the resources beneath the soil of South Africa, our mineral resources, our natural resources, should have been returned in 1994. But those resources could not have been returned because we got our freedom through signing of a paper and not through the revolution. Ours was negotiated settlement. And ours was negotiated by white business which left South Africa into Lusaka and said to the ANC, we're going to tell them to unban you and allow you to come back to South Africa, and you'll take over the government of South Africa. And when you take over the government of South Africa, it's business as usual. So meaning you must never tamper with our mines, you must never tamper with our farms, you must never tamper with our industries. It must be business as usual. And the ANC agreed. That's why the only thing we celebrated was the release of political prisoners. Walter Sisulu, when he came out of jail, there was a huge celebration. When Mandela came out of jail, there was a huge celebration. When O.R. Tambo returned, not so fit, having suffered a stroke, there was a huge celebration because that was a symbolic return of those who were exiled. Mandela's return, Govan Mbegi's return, Walter Sisulu's return, Andrew Mlangen's return was a symbolic return of those who were jailed in Robben Island. We celebrated that. 1994 came. We held elections. We inaugurated the president. On the 10th of May, there was a huge celebration. We celebrated that. But I argue anyone to go into the history books of South Africa and show us the day we celebrated the triumph of the revolution over colonialism and apartheid. That today we install the flag of the people at the Union Building in return because we are removing the apartheid flag. There's never been a day where we ever went to Union Building without being coordinated as a symbolic chant to Union Building to demonstrate that apartheid has been defeated by the strength of the people. Everything else was celebrated. Even when de Klerk died, they wanted us to celebrate because the flags must go on half-mast. When Botha died, they wanted us to celebrate because they said he must get a state funeral. Everything else has been celebrated, including the so-called Freedom Day. But there is no day where we're celebrating that today it's a revolution day where the armed forces of our people joined the people on the picket lines and marched into Pretoria and defeated the apartheid regime. That's why we are living at the mercy of white capital, which went to exile and said to the ANC, you are going to get everything else. And as you get everything else, it must be business as usual. It has been business as usual. What were we struggling for? Because at the core, if you go to 1912, there's never been, in the demands of 1912, that we want a voting day. The strategic objective of the formation of the revolution in 1912 has always been, we want the return of the land and the wealth stolen from our people during the wars of dispossession. They gave you that which you never asked for right at the formation and made you to believe that this is what you have been fighting for and made you to lull and forget the original strategic objective of why the revolution started in the first place. We never demanded at the first place the first black president. What do we do with the first black president? What do we do with the first black government? Because when we are the owners of the strategic means of production, we require no government because we can govern ourselves. The governments are installed to protect the interest of capital against those who have been robbed by capital. That's why they are governments. But where the working class is a dictator, requires no control of any government because we can run our own affairs. Hence, originally, we have never asked for government. We can self-regulate. All we needed was that which was stolen from us. What propelled us and mobilized us against colonialism is what was taken from us. It has not been returned till to date. So when the first National People's Assembly of the EFF took place here in Mangaung, elected the commissars, that must lead and champion the struggle for economic freedom, they were informed by the fact that ours is a negotiated settlement and has got no original strategic objective of the revolution. Hence the need to form an organization. We knew that if we had had what we originally fought for, the people of Marikana were not going to engage in a fight against the state and the brutal police. Mambush would not have been killed because 1994 would have returned the original strategic objectives into the hands of the people, and therefore there was not going to be a need for a strike. Now, seeing people dying in the number they died in Marikana, 34 of them, for asking that which was asked in 1912 and before. When the question was asked, what is to be done? The people said, we need a vehicle that will champion the struggles of the workers of Marikana and the poor of the poorest. So, comrades, these 10 years we are talking about, it's a 10 years of continuing the struggle that we have inherited from those who came before us. We did not start this struggle. We found this struggle, and our people were on the verge of being defeated. And we said we are not going to allow a situation where our people are defeated. We must take the baton and continue with this struggle. And we have done so successfully for the past 10 years. That's why we came here in Free State where Rioters Assemblies Act was used, an apartheid law was used to charge us because we're demanding the land. And they looked at in the archives of the laws and said, which law can we use to still suppress this struggle for land? They use Rioters Assembly Act, which is the same act they used when they charged Mandela and sent him to prison. The act they were charging me with is the same act they used to charge Mandela. Yet you claim you've got freedom. Yet you claim that the revolution happened in South Africa. We are the only joke in the history of the revolution all over the world where the revolution happens and the oppressor loses nothing. And the oppressed have nothing to show that indeed revolution happened and we won. You say you have won the revolution, you are still charged with the same act that was used to charge Nelson Mandela. The Apartheid Act, which we have had to take ourselves to the Constitutional Court for it to be declared unconstitutional. But otherwise, they were sending us to prison directly with the same law they used to send Mandela to prison. So, we are in a province which is very rich of mines and agriculture. But the people of Free State own no mines, owns no agriculture, owns no fertile land. In Thabo Mofokeng, it's even worse. The farm workers are exploited on daily basis. Some of the farm workers even sleep with the pigs. The farm workers get killed on daily basis in Tabanchu by Afrikaner racists. And when our people are being killed in the farms, and when our people are being poisoned in the farms, when others are being buried in graves that you cannot identify, the tables are turned that no, in Free State, there is a wide genocide in the farms. Because to them, killing one white person is equal to killing hundreds. But thousands that get to be killed, not only physically, spiritually as well. That men and women in the farms feel so defeated, so much that they've lost respect for life. They live to see another day because they are not guaranteed if they will see another day. We have demanded in Parliament that there must be an inquiry on the conditions of the farm workers, and I can guarantee you that we are going to find a situation worse than what we are talking about. Worse than what we are talking about. Every day I go to my farm in Limpopo, I pass a white man's farm here with farm workers' houses. Terrible conditions they live in. But I just pass them because it's normalized. Why the activist in me hasn't taken me to the gate of that farm and asked that farmer, why do you do this to human beings? And what is worse is that this farmer doesn't stay very far from those workers. He sees those conditions on daily basis. We don't need a mass meeting. We don't need many people. We need you as an activist, as a public representative to stop and demand that you want an account from the farmer as to why are these people staying in the conditions they are staying in. When he asks you, who are you, you must tell them, I'm an EFF public representative, I'm a councillor, I'm a member of legislature, I'm a member of parliament. If he comes with arrogance, only then should you mobilize the fighters to go to that farm and demand that the conditions of those workers must be changed and must be changed with immediate effect. Sometimes these people do not know what they are doing. They too think it's normal until you reawaken their conscience. Comrades, we always over-exaggerate the bravery of white people. In 1994, without anyone passing any law, when they saw democracy coming, they were the first ones to start co-opting black people into their companies and making them directors and promoting them and this and that without BEE. But they later realized, oh, no, man, we are scared of people who are actually not having anything against us here. They love us too much. And then they started removing those people from directorships and higher positions. White people on their own in 1994 were beginning to appreciate and accepting that things cannot continue the way they were. We are going to have to work with black people if we want peace. But the government of the day was not willing to entrench that. And when they saw the cowardice and the reluctance from the state, they said, why are we doing this? Because the state is not concerned about that. White people respect authority. COVID-19, when this government said curfew, 9 o'clock, when you were in Cape Town where white people are many there, 9 o'clock, Cape Town during COVID-19, curfew. 9 o'clock, Cape Town was turning into a graveyard. No car, no human being, no nothing. It just goes quite dead. That's how much white people respect authority. They just need this government to tell them that everything else that is in the house of the farmer must be found in the houses of the workers. If there is a flushing toilet in the house of the farmer, there must be a flushing toilet. If there is electricity in the house of the farmer, there must be electricity. Everything done there must be done here. It's possible. White people are not the only ones who are farming. We are farming as well. And we are doing the same things that we are asking them to do. We are doing them. Build proper houses for those who are working for you. You look after your workers, they will look after your business. Once you have passed that law, make sure that the labor inspectors go and enforce those laws and do not take a bribe. Our people will live long and the dignity of our people will be restored. And when that dignity is restored, then their confidence grows. A man with confidence is a man who's able to develop ideas of his own. But no one is willing to do that. Here in Mangaung, we've got a situation where the sewer system has collapsed. The potholes are the order of the day. A by-election is declared in a place where there is a sewer crisis, in a place where the Gogos can't get out of the house because their houses are surrounded by sewer. The IEC goes into the house of that Gogo with a wheelchair for a special vote. And then that Gogo votes for the ANC. We have a situation where the municipality has collapsed. The right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing. A municipality has had so many different types of municipal managers. Even the one who's sitting now, you are not sure if it is the one or there will be another one tomorrow. It's a mess. This gives an EFF an opportunity to zoom into that space and conscientize our people and make them aware that it is not the ANC which is the solution to the problem of sewer in Mangaung. Only the EFF that cares and loves its people is the solution to the problem of sewer in Mangaung. You've got, for many years, incomplete RDP houses, which have been idling there in those informal settlements. But let's go and check who those people voted for. And you can't blame them because you have not done your work. Your work is to politicize society. Because in the absence of politicization of society, you are going to have these results that we are having all the time. We said this year, it's a year of massive political education and voter registration. We must politicize our people to know that ANC is not a synonym for politics. Because they think when you say politics, you mean ANC. That's why when the IEC takes a tent there for them to change government, which they are not happy with, they ban that tent, that we don't want the ANC here. Because voting is elections, election is politics, therefore politics is ANC. They ban the tent. That is an apolitical society. we ought to politicize it. We can't blame them. Yes, they too have to take responsibility, but to a particular extent, political parties are there to politicize society and make society aware of what are the alternative solutions which they can follow. As you drive here in Mangaung, Sundays, in big cities and many other cities, Sundays, because there are no many people in the cities, are meant for cleaning the streets of the city, because there are not too many people. Every day, right after darkness, the municipal workers must enter the city and clean it so that when the people come back tomorrow, they must find a clean city. We can't say that about Mangaung. We can't say that about Mangaung. So when we live here, the chairperson of Mangaung must go to that KFC there and tell the manager, come and clean these papers of KFC outside KFC. I'm not going to leave until you clean this. Because we can't have KFC selling things to people and then they just drop them there. It has got no strategy on how it's going to clean that. And if he's not going to clean that, don't fight with him. Tell him, I've got a fighter who can be employed here, paid by you, KFC, to clean this place for you. Because I want this place clean. You are either going to clean it, or I'm going to give you someone that you are going to hire permanently to clean this place. Here in Free State, the EFF has declared every Saturday Andries Tatan cleaning campaign. Every Saturday, where we clean after ourselves, clean our townships and clean our suburbs. You, Andries Tatan comes from here. You must be the first ones to champion that cleanup campaign. Because Andries Tatan was killed for standing up to the authorities that were not delivering water to our people, for the authorities that were not delivering services to our people. So every Saturday, we must clean after ourselves. We might be poor. We might not have anything as black people. But that is not justification of not being clean. We must start cleaning after ourselves to demonstrate to the white man that we do not suffer from self-hate. We love ourselves so much. We've got pride so much. Even when we are poor, we are clean. Because black man is associated with filthiness. Why do you want a white man to come clean after you? Let's go clean after ourselves. We don't need to be in government to clean after ourselves. We don't have to be mayors to go clean after ourselves. Where are these councillors of the EFF, Baba? Go and take those yellow machines, the TLB, the tipper truck of the municipality, and say, on Saturday, I've got a cleanup campaign. Give us these things. Every dumping area, illegal dumping area in this place must be removed. And after cleaning up campaign, you must go door to door there, even before and after. Tell communities, look after your environment. It will look after you. Tell them that no one must dump illegally there. If they do, go to the EFF public representatives or EFF branch and make them aware who dumped these things here. The EFF must go and pick up those things that were dumped there, go and dump them in a yard of a person who came to dump them there. Because everybody must be told no to illegal dumping. You project us as if we can't live in a clean environment because we are pigs. We're not pigs. We're starting a journey of self-love. They've made our mentality to adjust to an unacceptable conditions. Who, in his rightful mind, can stay in the environments we stay in? It is because they've arrested our brains and we accept nonsense. Even the things that we can change with our own hands, we still cry for government to come and help us. The same way the Christians are waiting for Jesus to come. We are not religious. We can't wait for Jesus to come. We are Jesus ourselves. We are going to clean that place. We are not complainants. We are revolutionaries. We make things happen. Why should you create a squatter camp through land occupation now, and then your land occupation program, the sizes of stands are worse than the sizes of RDP houses stands? Because the EFF land occupation must allocate proper sizes. If you don't know what is the right size, go to the old white suburb, anywhere in South Africa, where poor whites were given houses by their government. Every town has got that. Go and take measurements from there. Take the measurements of those old houses of poor whites. We can't give our people anything less than what apartheid gave poor whites. Ours must start from there upwards. Secondly, do not occupy land away from town. Always when you occupy land, go closer to town. You know, comrades, the ANC came with a nonsensical concept called rural development. That thing is unrealistic. It's not going to happen. Rural development means we must take sewer from here to a village 70 kilometers away from town. We must take water there. We must take electricity there. We must take hospitals there. We must take schools there. When you arrive in that village, you only find 300 people. Where you are taking sewer from, the so-called city, that's where the population is. At the point when you are taking the sewer to a rural village for 300 people, the municipal manager says to you, we have a problem. Our sewer system has reached its capacity here in town. We have to expand it. We have a problem. The main road in town has terrible potholes which cannot be patched. We have to remove it and do a new one. That time we have a budget to take the tar road to a village where on that tar road, only 4 to 5 cars, if you are lucky, travel on that tar road. So you are given that reality, you are a mayor. You have to make a decision. Thousands and thousands of people, including the ones that you want to take the road to, use this road that has got potholes and you must fix. And less than 300 people are found, mostly old people, in a village. You must take this money, which must repair the town, to go and give them a road, which is going to be used by less than 5. Why can't we bring these people here? Because everywhere in the world, you can go to New York City. It's a huge population city because that's where things are happening. Now you say, let's do rural development. I'm turning 42 years now. I can tell you, I will even die before that thing happens. Meaning, those children who are stuck there in the village, they will never see a playing field with a grass. Because there's never going to be any priority of putting a grass on a field in a village in the nearest future. So why can't we bring these children here? Because you must, if development is not going to come to our people, let our people go where development is. When we say come to town, we're not saying come to white people. No, we're not. We don't care about white people. We're coming closer to the hospital. We're coming closer to proper schools. We're coming closer to where there is water and electricity. No one is going to bring those things to us. We are going to those things. And abayilungu abayifuni le. Every time you occupy land, there's a mentality that was installed in us black people who must be very scared of whites. Every time we do land occupation, we go the opposite. I will not be shocked to find the sheikhs on the N1 to Joburg there. Away from Mangaung. Because Botshabelo, no, Tabanchu must come to Botshabelo. Botshabelo must come to Mangaung. Yeah. We can't go to Lesotho. What are we going to go to Lesotho? The people of Lesotho wants to come here. When are you going to meet people, they are coming, when are you going that way? Come here. Let them hit a rubber bullet. Run away. Tomorrow try again. Coming this direction. They hit a rubber bullet. You go that way and then you come back. Maybe the third day when they're supposed to come to you, when you are erecting shacks here, don't come with anything new. Remember, we're taking chances. Hey, we're still testing waters. Don't buy anything new. We come with old material. That day, maybe we are lucky. Instead of coming to us, they get called, or there was a big cash in transit haste that side. They don't come, they are busy that side. And then in the council there, Baba keeps them so busy, they get so distracted. Then we stay there for 48 hours. They can't remove us. They will need the court to remove us. When they arrive in court, they will find Dalimpov waiting for them. And Dalimpov will not say, no, don't remove them. Say, no, I agree. You can remove them, but the law says, where are you taking them to? Where are you taking them to? That's why in Joburg, we must take the hijacked buildings. And when we say we are taking hijacked buildings, they say, no, Malema is turning against the foreigners. I'm not saying we must chase away the foreigners. I'm saying, and they hear me very well, let's take the hijacked buildings. Because most of the hijacked buildings do not have papers. And the people who are running those hijacked buildings are stealing money from our people. They don't give them any services. If you go into that building, there's no water, there's no electricity. Actually, the building is a health hazard. Joburg Municipality must take over those buildings. Remove everyone, South African or not South African, out of those buildings. Then we renovate those buildings, convert them into people's housing. Go and fetch the people of Alexander, of all those squatter camps that are far. Bring them into the city center to stay there. Because ambulances are just here. The road, when they get out of their apartments, the roads are proper, electricity is there, water is there. If that building catches fire, the fire engine is there. I was telling people at the funeral day in Limpopo that one mistake you all make, and that's what the rural people, they make that mistake too. They say, no, this is the land of our ancestors. It's not true. It's not true. Our ancestors, as they came down from the north, they never occupied a land that was not fertile. If you go to any traditional playhouse, any place here, including the Zulu king in Nongoma, how do you become a king? A Zulu king, a king of such a big kingdom, with a beautiful sea, beautiful mountain, and fertile land. You just leave Durban and go and stay in Nongoma. No one will take such a decision. To go the opposite direction of the fertile land. No. No. They were pushed there. The land removal, forceful removal, removed them from here in Mangaung into Botshabelo. But some fool then Botshabelo, no, my ancestors died here. Were from here in Botshabelo. It's not true. We are not from Botshabelo. We landed in the fertile land of Mangaung and got to be pushed to Botshabelo. Abapalla ku reason about our ancestors. My grandmother told me, Arno, you see where Pick and Pay is. Yeah, in Polokwane, where Pick and Pay is. This is where we arrived. And then they removed us from here to the township. So I've got no ancestors of township. I've got ancestors who stay where Pick and Pay is. That's where my ancestors arrived at. Now that my grandmother died in Sishiu, I must go around saying Sishiu is my ancestral land. No. When my ancestors were still alive, told me where they were forcefully removed by white people. Go and check your history. If you know it, once you discover it, you will stop this thing of land occupation away from the fertile land. You will always look for where the fertile land is and take our people there. And when you take our people there, you are not engaged in illegal land occupation. You are returning to the ancestors' land because that's where our ancestors arrived to. And they were forcefully removed by the apartheid. Comrades, if you master that, then you must know we are almost there. In the EFF government, when we take over a municipality or a province, we are not going to invest a lot in those things of rural what. We are going to take those people of rural areas and say to them, yeah, it's a building. Build for you guys. You can even name it after your village. This building. Come and stay here. You will decide if you still want to choose, if you still want to keep the land in the villages. No one will take it from you. But here, it's your home next to development. You must never go around saying, EFF, IRA, it's our next. It's your choice. If we're now chooser to go stay there, it's a choice you made. But yeah, it's a place where we're putting you. Let there be a deliberate decision to relocate rural areas closer to development, because that's where they originally come from. To say rural development, we are putting so much, is to unwittingly support the spatial planning of apartheid, which said blacks must stay there in Botshabelo. We may not relocate the old. They are there, they are fine. But let the younger generation of Botshabelo have an option. And that option is through making land available closer to development. Those are the things that we should be fighting about. Fighters who are going to elections next year. But let me tell you, I discovered that a lot of EFF public representatives have not heeded a call to get qualifications. They didn't go to school. As a result, we've taken a decision that all public representatives is closing on the 8th of February. Even those who gave apology, you must tell them. Rewrite of matric is closing on the 8th of February. All of them must go and register to rewrite matric and must complete it by the end of this year. In January, we are coming back to do an audit. The one with no matric will be released from his qualifications. That's number one. Number two, all those who have been in parliament and in the legislature expect a letter that is going to ask you, if you have a matric, what have you done since parliament to now to attain a tertiary qualification? And those of you who do not have tertiary qualification, 10 years after we preached education and said we make education fashionable, you sitting here on our tables laughing at us. You thinking we're talking to someone else, we're not talking to you. We are not going to be led by people who have not gone to school. Comrades, let me tell you, if we take to counsel people who have not gone to school, we are worse than the ANC. This country, it is in this mess because the ANC took people who have not been to school into positions of power. And as a result, the illiterate could not see that the sewer system of Mangaung needs to be expanded. Even when they explained that to the illiterate, he didn't hear anything. They were jumping on top of his head. We're in this mess because of illiteracy. When we started the EFF, I was happy to have you because maybe you didn't go to school, we were too poor at home, we didn't have money. But we took you into council. We took you into parliament. We took you into legislature, made resources available for you to go to school. You still refused. And then you go around saying, we are better than the ANC. I was in court the whole week last week. Then they say, no, we are going to have 2 MMCs in Joburg. And then they send me the names. I no, fine, no, it's okay. Let's do it. Then when I arrive home, I have time now to go through the profiles of these people. I find that one of them does not have matric and wants to be an MMC. Then I call leaders of the EFF, I put them into a teleconference. And I say, no, but this guy can't be an MMC. He's a good comrade, man. Mobilization is there, posters is there, and all. But this position doesn't require that. It doesn't require a person who can sing the loudest slogan. We cannot be worse than the ANC. The leadership of the EFF said to me, we'll come back to you, let's have a caucus. I allowed that. After 10 minutes, I realized, no man, they robbed me. I called them back. I said to them, you can't say to me, let's have a caucus on a principal matter. You guys should have agreed with me immediately that, hey, you're actually right. We didn't see this. And I said to the comrade, why do you do this to the EFF? Why do you agree to be an MMC without qualifications? At least matric. Because you ought to answer the question yourself seated there, that if these things go out, will they enhance the beautiful image of the EFF or will they damage the image of the EFF? Ask that. And if the answer is it will damage the image of the EFF, don't wait for anyone to say you have to step down. You ought to say to the leadership, thank you very much, I can't accept because I'm busy with something. But what do? Because you like positions and you think the EFF is a step ladder into positions and defeating your family poverty, you accept even when you know you are not qualified. And then you go to a conference. How do you do that? Go to a conference and elect a matriculous person. I told the DP, I said, I'm going to sponsor a motion now in the next conference of the EFF that anyone who leads the EFF, the basic academic requirement is matric, so that we correct the wrongs. You can no longer blame anyone for you not going to school. Opportunities are there. The EFF student command is there. If you have never been a counselor and you don't have money to go to school, old as you are a potential member of the EFF student command. Go to the student command and ask them to help you to register for free and help you to apply for NSFAS. If you are a beneficiary of 350, automatically you take that thing of SASA and say, Dimlo, you are admitted immediately. So there is no one, hate me anyhow you want. I'm telling you the truth. You have no excuse not to go to school. Go back to school if you want to lead the EFF. Go back to school if you want to lead our people. We are preparing to govern. And we are not going to govern level machaba school. So please, we cannot take Free State with illiterate people. You want to hate us. Because when we take over Free State and we are looking for MECs from amongst the PCT, no one is qualified. We go to RCTs, no one is qualified. Then what do? We now start going out, taking people to come and be MECs. Then you go around, we're the ones who are putting up posters. But when they want MECs, they don't look at us. We've never said putting up posters, it's a qualification for government position. Comrades, let's have this conversation openly and genuinely with each other. We, 2 MMCs in Joburg, this week, if all goes well, 5 MMCs in Ekurhuleni. And here in Free State, we're busy negotiating Metsimaholo, because there we can also go in. But we refuse to go in under the ANC. So we came up with a new strategy now that will rather have a small party mayor, because we can't have each other and we can't serve under each other. Have a small party mayor and then get the MMC's positions and run our own government. So we will do that. We'll do that in Metsimaholo and we'll do that here at Kwatwa, Malutiapofung. We stand a chance as well in Malutiapofung of getting in and doing the right thing. April, we want qualifications, not birth certificates, qualifications. We don't want to hear after we appoint MMCs there, hey, we are the ones who started EFF here. Hey. No, go to school. So, comrades, we have made sure that the EFF grows, and Metsimaholo is one example where if we do things right and we lead land occupation right, like they did in Metsimaholo, in one of the wards, we can lead this province. Metsimaholo government is not under the ANC. So the Metsimaholo people have shown you that it is possible for government to happen without the ANC being in leadership. So now it's time for all of us to follow Metsimaholo. Let's go and work the ground. 1994 should be a picnic compared to 2024. You must make history again in 2024. You must go work the ground. How do we do that? We must register our own new voters. We've been getting 10% from the voters' roll, which is constituted by people who are not registered by us. We never registered people. So now, every week we ought to give an account of how many new voters have we registered. Let me give you an example. In Tefliop, University of Limpopo, the EFF Student Command, when it contested elections for the first time, won against SASCO. But SASCO did not lose a single vote that year. It got the same votes it got last year. And it even got more votes, by the way, but still lost. You know why? The EFF Student Command came with new voters all together and did not rely on those voters which were there last year. They went to get their own voters and won elections even when SASCO still did not lose a vote, not a single vote. EFF brought its own new voters. So look at what the young are teaching us. They are saying to us that for you to win, do not rely on a voter's roll that is not yours. Go and build your own voter's roll. You must have a voter. You must have a voter on a voter's roll who says, "Nah, I'm a voter today because of the EFF. It is the EFF that brought me here into the voter's roll." We do that every week for the whole year. As we educate people politically, that education is accompanied by the importance of voting. So many people are registered, they are not voting. So many people are not registered. We must go and tap on those and get them to the polls in 2024. Comrades, the EFF, as it celebrates 10 years, at the FNB Stadium on the 28th of July, should know that it is in preparation for victory come 2024. If we fail to fill up that stadium, packed to capacity, even with overflow, then we must know we will never see victory in 2024. That's why we took a decision that, sometimes we look too far when we look for people. We go around mobilizing people. We look too far. So we took a decision that all councillors must each bring a bus. I went to Berry Crisani in 1993. When I went to Berry Crisani in 1993, the buses were not from national. They were organized by our local leaders. You call yourself a leader. You call yourself a public representative. Sometimes even after drinking Coke, sometimes you even tell your people there that if EFF wins here, I'm going to be a mayor. That's what you say. But you can't even organize a bus. One bus. By end of May, you should have paid your bus, sent to the head office, proof of payment, accompanied by a verifiable list of people who are going to get into that bus. And it's not only paying the bus. You are not going to put people in the bus and you don't feed them. To F&B and coming back. Let me tell you, those people always complain when we call meetings there in your municipalities that our councillor is useless, our councillor is not helping us with anything. I'm giving you an opportunity to do something so that for the whole term, Ebagar, you have never done anything for us. Or Kilische FNB, Uskabai Tom. Kilische FNB, all the way from Kwakwa to FNB, Uskanzama wen. Obarase Jegayona for the whole term. Ukwetimula to house a problem. So, fighters, we are laughing about it. It's not going to be a laughing matter. At the end of May, when you get a call that you have not submitted your list and your proof of payment for the bus. We're training you to have the capacity. Don't take from your salary. Go and raise money. Part of your leadership qualities should mean you've got capacity to mobilize money for the revolution. You can't lead the revolution if you can't mobilize resources for its success. Many of you can't even organize an RCT meeting. That's how bad you are. A meeting of 21 people. You can't raise simple resources to have a decent RCT meeting, yet you call yourself leaders. Demonstrate your leadership qualities now. You are like you are telling you now in February for May. So, members of legislature, Baba, ten buses. All members of legislature, I know you just came in, shame. Utlabai solo no yakai. 10 buses, paid, fully paid for, and all of that. And then members of parliament, 20 buses. Members of parliament, 20 buses. All of you, please stick to this, because if you do that, we are going to have a successful 10th anniversary of the EFF. If all of you just do what you are asked to do and you stick to that, all these buses, all of you in the whole country, when we calculate these buses, they give us 110,000 people. We need 90,000. We have not released EFF buses. We are still going to release EFF buses. Just with buses of public representatives alone, we are sitting at 110,000. Do not fail us. Get your own bus. Be proud of your own bus. Drive with your bus to FNB. Those people will admire you for the rest of their life. That our leader made us to be part of a historic moment in the history of politics in South Africa. Comrades, things are bad in the country, and they are not going to get any better. I had someone saying load shedding will be done in December. It's not true. We had a meeting with the president. He said, maybe 2 years. He never said 2 years. He said, maybe 2 years. Our investigation shows that it will stay for the next 5 years, unless we remove the ANC from power. Unemployment is at 60% of the youth. Yet there is nothing on the street. How can you have a country with 90% of young people being unemployed and that government is not threatened? Revolution is an activity of the youth. No one should ever undermine the youth in a manner that this government has done. No single hospital is functional. When we talk to grannies about going to a hospital, they refuse. They say, I will rather die here at home, because if you send me there, it's equal to sending me to a mortuary. No hospitals. Few days ago, a child has been stabbed to death at school in Gauteng because our schools have become war zones, because nothing is working in South Africa. Today, if you sleep without hearing that a woman has been stabbed to death, it becomes a shock, because women being abused and being stabbed to death has become the order of the day. The government has got no solution. If anything, members of parliament of the ANC are arrested for beating up and killing their wives. And those are the people you expect to provide solution to GBV. Things are deteriorating to worse. A president takes money, doesn't declare that money to Reserve Bank, doesn't declare that money to SARS. The top judges of the country say there is a prima facie, this man must answer some questions. He uses his majority in parliament to avoid accountability for having violated his oath of office and the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa. Nothing happens. The white supremacists do as they wish. They are the biggest beneficiaries of the 1994 breakthrough. The rich are becoming more richer. The poor are becoming more poorer. In simple terms, and simply put, it means whites are becoming more rich and blacks are becoming more poorer. The inequality is high. The unemployment is high. The poverty levels is high. The cost of living is high. Yet, nothing happens on the streets because we are all captured through the media, through propaganda. We're all captured by the ideology of white monopoly capital. It tells us when to strike and when not to strike. So, we who are not captured by the white monopoly capital, we're striking now. On the 9th of February, Cyril Ramaphosa will not address that parliament peacefully because he's got no respect for the parliament of the Republic of South Africa. We cannot be addressed by a constitutional delinquent. We cannot be addressed by a man who violated his constitution. We cannot be addressed by a man who has thrown the constitution of South Africa into the pit toilet. The youth, the streets are calling. The youth of South Africa have never been known for being cowards. We cannot experience cowards now. The call is being made. The picket lines are calling. That's why on the 20th of March, we are going to close the whole of South Africa, including Mangaung. Nothing should move here in Mangaung. No one goes in, no one goes out. Nothing should move on the N1, on the N3. Nothing should move. No truck must move. No factory must be open. No school must be open. No university must be open. Our people must occupy the streets of South Africa and demand that Cyril Ramaphosa must step down with immediate effect. We will be in Pretoria. We are not going to the lawns of Union Building. We are going to the gate of Matlabandlovu, where the president stays, because that house belongs to us. We want to occupy that house and demand the release of the president. If you are staying next to the railway lane, you must be making a plan on how the train is going to be stopped, because no train must be moving, especially the one that takes workers to work and the one that takes our minerals to Richards Bay. All the trucks that steals our minerals to Richards Bay must be stopped. On the 20th of March, no mineral is going to leave South Africa on that day. And comrades, don't think when we say the 20th of March, we mean 8 o'clock in the morning. We mean 3 a.m. in the morning. There must be activity on the road. We should be preparing for a day when the cowards will be sleeping. We will be taking over the streets of South Africa. This plenum must answer the question, how do we make Free State part of the historic moment? What becomes my role as an individual? Because all of us on that day, we've got an activity. All of you, when you go back, every factory, every shop, every school, every university, any place of work must receive a letter. 20th of March, there's no work. Please make alternative plans. Because we don't want you to say the EFF is not peaceful. Hey, we're peaceful. We're telling you peacefully through a letter. All of you must go and meet the taxi associations where you are. Plan with them. Tell them that this is to their benefit, because the more the economy works, the more money they make as taxi drivers and taxi owners. The buses do not negotiate with them. Just give them a letter. Stop all the buses. Between now and the 20th of March, that's your work. Mobilize society. Make society understand that there is no EFF that is going to collapse the economy of South Africa. The economy of South Africa has collapsed already. There's nothing that, if anything, we are trying to remove the people who have failed this economy. These people who are saying, hey, the EFF is going to make things worse. They are not different from the IFP. When we were saying during apartheid, put sanctions on the economy of South Africa, on the apartheid economy of South Africa, IFP was running around all over the world saying we don't want sanctions because black people are going to suffer. pretending to care about black people, while we knew that sanctions will usher in international solidarity for the world to support us against apartheid. IFP was saying, no, we don't need that. It's the same people today. Do not listen to Mickey Mouse. Do not listen to political molecules. They can't do anything. None of them can stop the EFF. Not even this government can stop the EFF, because we are determined to highlight the plight, the suffering of our people. And therefore, 20th of March is do or die. It is the day of the revolution. And whoever is shouting must choose if he wants to be on the side of the oppressor or wants to be on the side of the revolution. Thank you very much.
I'm a king, yes, I'm a king, I think I'm a king,